This is Ryan with TrendLizard.com. We're going to take a look at another stock here. This is AT&T, trading under the ticker T. So it was incepted back in 1984. Didn't trade for much back then. Obviously, it's trading for quite a bit more now. Essentially, its all-time low was established right when it opened for business back then in 84. And right now, however many years later, 30 some odd years later, it's essentially trading near its all-time high. So it's not quite as glamorous when we drill in, but that's the gist of it on a long-term time frame. AT&T continues to look bullish on a long-term time frame. Its initial advance was a trendy move. Every trendy move takes on 5 waves. This very clearly took on 5 waves, and that is counteracted by a counter-trend move, which takes on a 3-wave form, and this is very clearly a 3-wave form. It ended fairly ugly here in 2008, 2009, but since it's busted out, I think the high back in 1999, 2000 was around 27.50. Since then, it's hit 40. I think it's fairly safe to say that this counter trend move is over and that the uptrend has resumed. So it is a bullish deal. I think you have to be bullish on AT&T on a long-term time frame and expect it to head quite a bit higher before it's all said and done. So let's look in a little bit closer here. This is the advance off the 2008 low. It is a nice trendy move. There's been portions of it that have just been kind of nasty and not very tradable, but overall it's continued up and it has been a pretty good vehicle for profits here. So since 2016, about midway through 2016, it recorded a high that was at or near its all-time high. This might be the all-time high, somewhere in there. Anyway, since then it's been kind of chopping sideways to lower. That's pretty substantial. Might not seem like it when you're looking at this time frame, but this is 8 years or more. So this here is almost 2 years that it's pulled back. So that part's not very glamorous, not very great, not very profitable. The good news is it is counter trend movement. It keeps AT&T heading higher overall. That's the good news. The bad news is I don't think this move is quite over yet. So one thing we expect is for it to head down into this yellow support area before the low is found. A lot of times it'll head to the 4th wave of one lesser degree. In English, it's just this low right here in 2015. A lot of times that'll provide support. Whatever the case may be, it looks like it probably has more work to go to the downside before it takes off again. So right now, I wouldn't really own it. I wouldn't really buy it. I think it is a buying opportunity once it starts doing something stronger that looks more sustainable to the upside. But right now, it's probably going to continue chopping lower until this pullback completes. So let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look at that here. This is that chop, that 2-year chop. It's kind of gone back and forth. It's been fairly tightly range bound, but it is heading lower. So again, it's very clearly a counter trend move, but there's just no sign that it's over. So I think you have to expect it to continue to go lower. A move above 35.50, if that happens, would be the first clue that maybe the pullback is ended and things are heading up. But I just don't think it's happening right now. So let's take a even closer look here. This is what's happened off a May's low, and the reason I'm looking at this is because if a low is recorded, then it would be one of these lows, obviously. And so we're just analyzing to make sure it hasn't ended. If we look at off the ultimate low for the pullback, you can see the advance off of that low was a 3-wave move, and we know that 3-wave moves are counter trend moves. They're not trendy moves, so this is a good indication that the trend has not resumed to the upside. Then there was this pullback. If then you want to call this the low to the pullback, you can try to get creative, call this a leading diagonal, all this other stuff. It's a stretch at best. I think you have to expect it to go lower before it ends up finding that low time frame. It's very hard to say. It's a 2-year move already. There's nothing that says it has to end. If you zoom back out here, it is pretty long compared to the other pullback of the same time frame, which happened back in 2010. So technically, on a time frame basis, it's lasted as long as it needed to. But again, nothing in price is yet saying that a low is in. So I think you want to stay away from this guy until you do get an indication that something to the upside is sustainable. A move again above 35.50 would be a good start. But as is right now, it just looks like this counter trend chop is going to continue before AT&T becomes a good buying opportunity. So again, I hope you're having a fabulous weekend. I know I am. It's a beautiful day outside and all that stuff. So enjoy yourself. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you again very soon. Take care.